In H-Town, we want news that speaks truth, just like we do.
ADNC keeps me informed and him inspired.
We've been through too much to trust mainstream media. This feels like us.
From the D to the diaspora, ADNC is how I stay woke.
We binge ADNC like it's Netflix, but smarter.
They speak on us, but never for us. ADNC does.
No fluff, no filters, just the truth, daily.
From Wall Street to 125th, we're watching our news.
Download the African Diaspora News Channel app today to stay connected to the culture.
Hello, everybody. Hello. It is Friday, or as I like to call it, Fry-yay. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody had a good week so far. And I hope everybody's going to have a good weekend. I just want to see here that we've got some new members. So I just love to shout out our new members. So Steve Dunkley, thank you so much. Welcome to the ADNC family. Malcolm Matthews, welcome to the ADNC family. And I hope that you will enjoy hanging out with us and hanging out with me today. So today we're going to talk about immigration in Canada. Immigration and the hot mess express that it is. And thanks to the Liberal government. And so they realized that they had to do a lot of cleaning up, okay? A lot of cleaning up. I'm going to throw out some numbers to you. Currently, there are 2.7 to 3 million immigrants in Canada that either have their visas expired in 2025 or it's set to expire in 2026, okay? So we have that. And then we have over 800,000 permits that are set to expire this year alone, just in 2026, okay? And now Canada, well, the Liberal government in Canada has finally realized, okay, we got a bit of a problem here. It only took for us to have major issues with the health system, with housing, with the economy in general, not to mention crime. Literally, crime's up, gas is up, groceries up, and they're finally saying time's up. All right. So we're going to get into that. We're going to get into what Bill C-12 is, the big, beautiful bill that has officially passed into law, and how it's going to affect immigrants basically under the temporary umbrella. So temporary foreign workers, people with work permits, international students, people that fall under that sort of bracket, even post-grad permit holders. So we'll talk about how it affects them and what the rules are and what have you. But before we get started, let us just hear a little bit of what Canada's Immigration Minister, Lena Diab, has had to say about it. And then we will get into it. And I'll also come over to the chat and see what you all are saying before we really get into it. And I'll provide like a pretty decent summary of what this actually means.
Crystal clear to everyone everywhere, asylum is not a shortcut to immigration. The bill will reinforce that with two new targeted ineligibility rules. First, asylum claims made more than 1 year after the initial arrival in Canada, after June 24, 2020, will no longer be referred to the Immigration and Refugee Board. Second, claims by those crossing irregularly from the United States and waiting more than 14 days to apply will also be ineligible.
And, that was actually, she said this a few months ago. It's actually, there's more people that are ineligible now, including asylum seekers, including people on visitor visas. And as I said, we'll get into the rules of engagement now. Hey, Uncle. Kel, you said you've had the app since day one. Thank you so much. And thank you to the rest of you that have gotten the app. Really appreciate you much. Radical Resistance, thank you so much. Moon Willow, you said let's get into it. We sure are. Rodman, you said I just saw on live stream where Saskatchewan was allowing immigrants to apply directly through temporary protective status. I mean, that used to be the plan, but that's about to change. So let's get into this. I did a little bit of a presentation so that we can really get into this, and we'll talk about this whole bill. So let me just go to the beginning. So we start from the beginning. So this presentation is going to explain a major shift in Canada's immigration and asylum system, which was introduced on March 26, 2026 to be exact. Bill C-12 is the name. It changes how quickly cases are decided, how strictly timelines are enforced, and how easily claims can be ruled ineligible. The result is a system that moves faster, but also places more pressure on individuals to meet higher requirements. So Canada has long balanced economic immigration with humanitarian protection, and that is true. So in recent years, applications have surged across streams. As I was saying in the beginning, it's become a real hot mess. It's literally a runaway train that's out of control, okay? Backlogs have grown. Yep. Asylum seekers alone is over 300,000 in backlog, okay? Stretching processing times and creating uncertainty for applicants and policymakers alike. Bill C-12 is the government's response to tighten the rules, accelerate decisions, and reduce pressure on the system. So, 30,000 people have been flagged so far. You saw that in the caption. So 30,000 people have been identified under new review measures connected to Bill C-12. Being flagged does not equal immediate deportation. It means cases are now assessed under stricter eligibility rules and timelines. So for many, this introduces new urgency to provide documents, explanations, or legal responses. So the 30,000, they were already on warrant, meaning that they were already in the system, that were under review and are supposed to be leaving Canada based on their situation. Okay. So they're saying about 9,000 of those flags are Indian nationals. Now they're doubling down and saying, well, it's not necessarily true. This is alleged, whatever you have, what have you. So I'll just say allegedly for the sake of what the government is saying. So many followed a similar pathway, entering in as international students, then later filing asylum claims when other options narrowed. And that is true. So a lot of the international students that came down from India were coming down as students. And then when it was time for their, permits or to expire, then they would go in and file for asylum. And then that would extend their time even more, right? So this is one of the things that they're saying, okay, under this bill, you're not going to be able to do that. So that's one of the things that they identified with international students. And so again, the 9,000 is, they're saying, okay, maybe not, but nevertheless, the international students were definitely doing that, and that's fraud. So that's one of the things that they're looking at. So the rule, as you heard Lena Diab say, is that there's a 1-year window. So basically, if someone comes, say I came into Canada from the United States on January 1st, I have until December 31st to make sure that I got all my paperwork in and I've done all that I need to do. Particularly, let's just say if I'm filing for refugee protection or whatever, I'm applying for asylum, I have to make sure that I get everything in beforehand. Okay. So you got 12 months. Now in the past, you can, there are a lot of people that have extended that. And those are the people that are falling under this bucket, right? Anything under temporary, they all fall under this bucket and they will all be under review. All right. So why the timing matters more now is previously delays could often be explained with context such as changing circumstances or lack of information. Under the new framework, procedural timing carries greater weight, sometimes overriding the substance of claim. So this means people must navigate the system quickly and precisely from the outset. So basically, you should have followed the rules from the beginning. So when you came into the country, you should have gone through the right measures. And now all of these people that were taking advantage of the systems that were in place that were a lot more lenient and gave a lot more grace, basically they're saying you should have done it right to begin with. So now we're in this situation where you're on a time crunch. And this leads me to the next slide. So the 21-day notice window. So the many of the affected individuals will receive or have received notices asking them to respond within that 21 days. They need to submit missing documents, clarify inconsistencies, or explain late filings. And insufficient or late responses can move a case towards refusal or removal more quickly than before. So, like I was saying earlier, you can keep filing and filing appeals and what have you, and you can request a hearing, and then the hearing can take so long because of the backlog. So you literally are just buying yourself time and buying yourself time. Now they're sending out notices saying you got 21 days to respond. And some of these missing documents can just be something around your paperwork. Did you file your green card? Did you renew it? Or your visa, as they call it here, did you renew it? Or why are you late to file, and all of those kinds of things. And you have 21 days to respond. And then if you don't, your case is moved towards you're just basically bye-bye. You got to get out of here. No more time. Time's up. So what does ineligible mean? If a claim is found ineligible, access to full refugee hearing may be denied, like I was saying. In some situations, this can lead to a removal order without a comprehensive review of the claim's merits. So again, that grace is gone. So if you are found ineligible, and you don't have the option to file an appeal, to request a hearing, none of that. You get your removal order and you're stuck like Chuck, basically. You got to get going. So from student to asylum claimant, a portion of affected individuals entered Canada legally as international students, as I was saying, and then rising costs, limited work hours, and shifting policy conditions made the transition pathways uncertain. And so with international students, you can only work a certain amount of hours as an international student. So with the economy rising, that was causing some strain, right? And also these shifting policy conditions, right? So some then turn to asylum as a last resort. And what Bill C-12 is doing is narrowing that route by tightening the eligibility timelines. So you can't do that no more. This is passed into law now. So a system under strain, high application volumes have increased pressure across processing systems, including asylum, work permits, and permanent residency. Delays can compound as cases wait for review, adding uncertainty for applicants and administrative burden for the system. Bill C-12 addresses this by prioritizing speed and clearer cutoffs. So basically, again, all of that time that everybody had to just wait it out and hope, you don't get your hearing till next year, or your appeal hearing doesn't happen till next year, gone. Everything is moving at a fast paced, and all those rules are tightened now. So like I said, faster decisions, faster consequences. The law aims to shorten processing times through earlier screening and clearer eligibility thresholds. However, quicker decisions can reduce the time available to gather evidence or obtain legal advice. And that's why a lot of immigrants right now are in a state of panic, because some of them don't even have immigration consultants or lawyers and what have you. So now you got to figure out, all right, I got to get somebody to help me out with this that's skilled in this area, licensed, whatever. And that can take money. So the gravy train has come to the end of the track. And now people are in a state of panic because, again, these decisions are happening real quick. And there's a narrow margin for error for applicants navigating. So you need to find yourself an immigration lawyer, whatever you got to do to get this under control, because listen, this 30,000 is just the beginning. You heard what I said in the beginning, 2.7 to 3 million permits expired or expiring. And Canada wants to have the, as it relates to the immigration under the temporaries, down to 5% or less. So right now, the 30,000 that they're trying to get rid of is really literally only like 1%. So they haven't even met not even a fraction of their quota of how many immigrants they want gone, and meeting their quota of only 5%, not even close. So they're going to be hopping to it, and 30,000 is just a start. And I did see the comment at the beginning saying it's a drop in the bucket, and you're right. It is a drop in the bucket, but this is just the start, I'm saying. So what options remain? Affected individuals may seek legal counsel, as I was saying, file appeals or judicial reviews, or explore alternative immigration programs. Each pathway has its own criteria, timelines, and costs, which can be difficult to meet under pressure. When you got that 21-day timeline, or you're like 11 months into your coming into the country and you only have 1 month left, imagine the panic, right? The state of panic. So will deportations happen immediately? When you hear 30,000, are you thinking, okay, there's going to be a whole boatload of planes and all 30,000 are going at once? Not even realistic, right? So Canada's legal framework includes safeguards such as appeals and court reviews that take time. As a result, removals are unlikely not to recur all at once. Over time, however, stricter rules are expected to increase the number of complete removals, as I was saying earlier. Right now, they are removing 450 immigrants a week. But, as they're removing, another 5 to 650 are coming into the system, meaning into the system, expired, should be under review, potentially need to be removed and stuff. So they're not even ahead, like not even a little bit getting ahead of the game. So these are the concerns. Advocates argue that tighter timelines may disadvantage vulnerable individuals who need more time to prepare claims. There's concern that procedural barriers could prevent some legitimate claims from being fully heard. The debate centers on whether efficiency gains come at the cost of equitable access. So basically, in a nutshell, people are saying, well, it's not really that fair. Okay. Like you're not giving these people a chance or an opportunity to be able to get their stuff together. And basically the Liberal government is saying, well, hang on, you've had a year at least. So now you got 21 days to respond. So officials state that the system must remain efficient, predictable, and resistance to misuse. And that's what's been happening, a lot of misuse. Clear timelines and eligibility rules are presented as necessary to maintain integrity and public confidence. From this perspective, Bill C is a recalibration rather than a departure. So there was one called C-2, and now they've kind of as they said, recalibrated it and kind of made it into one recipe of everything they kind of needed to see change. Implications for Canada. Changes of this scale can influence Canada's global reputation and future migration patterns. As far as the reputation goes, meh. I mean, not that I want to trash the country, because there are some beautiful things about Canada, I can't lie. But as far as the reputation goes, right now, Canada is looking like the biggest wuss. Canada is looking like the biggest pushover, basically, because you have allowed an onslaught of immigrants into the country and basically have no control over it. So as far as the reputation, I guess they feel like this may influence the reputation in a positive way, because there's this massive cleanup exercise that's happening, I guess. They may also affect labor markets, education pathways, and community dynamics. Yeah, we know that for sure. Labor markets can be affected, education pathways for sure. But at the same time, even though all of this is happening, we're still seeing people coming in. We're still seeing immigrants allowed in. We're still seeing more and more temporary foreign workers, for example. A lot of them are working at Tim Hortons. So it's like, you're doing this, but there's a lot going on the other end. So I don't know how this balances, but how the balance is struck between enforcement and protection will shape outcomes in the years ahead. Yeah, time will tell. Their target is 2027 to be at 5% of immigrants making up the population of Canada. So they got a lot of work to do, because right now it's well over 5%. Okay, well over. So, final reflection. Bill C-12 represents a shift in how Canada manages migration under pressure. For roughly 30,000 people now under review, the stakes are immediate and personal. For Canada, the question is how to balance timely decisions with fair access to protection. And right now, it is severely unbalanced. And as a result of that, we're in this situation. Now, here's just, my humble opinion, not the opinion of the government or anything else. Let me make that clear. I do think with this happening and with the panic, because a lot of people aren't really understanding the process in its entirety, including the people who may have received a 21-day notice. Let me talk to America for a second. You might see some people trying to cross over into America. You might see some immigrants trying to do that, just like immigrants from America were trying to cross into Canada illegally and seek asylum, because your president, number 47, scrapped the temporary protective status. So we might see that going on, but you guys have ICE. So ICE will have that under control, I'm sure. This is just my humble opinion, okay? As I said, not the opinion, not facts, just based on what normally happens when things start changing, like, policies start changing that can affect those who are already here, and their visas have expired, as I said, or their work permit is set to expire, or their temporary foreign working status is set to expire, and they don't want to go home, right? So they try and find other, places to go and other borders. And the closest one is the United States. So yeah, we can expect that, in my opinion. Again, don't at me, in my humble opinion. But this is why there's widespread panic right now. And then the other thing is, to the criminals that are here illegally and committing all of this crime that's going on. Y'all better also watch yourselves, because 30,000 is the start. And I don't mean watch yourselves in the sense of, hide. I'm just saying be prepared to get on the first thing smoking. Because it's not a joke anymore. It's not a joke. Don't sleep on Canada. Canada is stepping up their game big time, big time. So yeah. Hey, Buckhorse, how you doing? Lala Brown, you're saying America needs to do this. I mean, Trump has ICE all over the streets. You got detention centers and all kinds of stuff over there. The Canada Border Services Agency is kind of the equivalent to ICE, but they're not as hardcore as ICE is, not by a long shot, not even close. You said it's real in DC. Moon Willow, you're saying it's about time. Yeah. Buckhorse, you're saying there's no more time. They want unlimited appeals so they can cry about how long they've been there and to make anchor babies. Well, and all of those things are no longer going to be a thing. They're just not. We got 30,000 people that fall in the bucket of the temporaries, right? Temporary foreign workers, visitors visas, work permits, postgraduate permits, international students. All of that falls under the 30,000 bucket, and they're getting their notices. So it's not going to be that easy to do that anymore. Hey, Ali Howard, thanks so much for tuning in. Hey, Mike, you said game over. Oh my goodness. So Isaac, you think Canada is like the US regarding immigration? Well, they're getting there. Definitely getting there. So, Buckhorse, you said this is a very historical moment in time. The world is completely changing in our faces. Amazing. Scatterman, you said amazing. They don't want to go home, but they fly flags from home. I mean, if they're proud of their country, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think. It's more about doing things the right way. Make sure your paperwork's right. And also to the liberal government, it's about time you got it together. And I know the conservatives aren't happy with the way things are being done. They don't think it's fair. They feel like this is en masse, right? And then some conservatives are saying that even people with permanent residency are going to be affected by this. I'm not sure how, but I don't see that in any part of the bill. It doesn't mention that. It mentions asylum seekers, and as I said, the list earlier, it's more around the people that are temporary, not permanent residents. So anyhow, if you're not supposed to be here, then leave, basically. Time has run out. Oh boy. So it seems to me like y'all in the chat are happy about this. And Hassan, you said, don't flee to the United States. Well, listen, as I said, this is not the opinions of ADNC. It's not the opinions of the Canadian government. It's just Emma Ansah's opinion. Auntie M is saying that I predict, and trust me, if it does happen, I'll be right back here talking about it, reporting about it. Okay. But I just have a feeling that, people are going to be, because right now there's a lot of desperation. So I have a feeling that people are going to do what they've been doing by coming from the United States here. And I reported on that not too long ago. There were people coming from the United States seeking asylum, right? And the system was very kind, and giving them a lot of grace. But now they're saying time's up. If you seek asylum, you got 1 year to make it count. And that's actually even a lot of time. If you think about it, that's a lot of time to get it together. So the fact that we have 30,000 people that didn't get it together within a year or even longer, because some of them have been here way longer than a year and have been living here, working here, going to school, whatever, right? Getting health care, getting medical care. At one point, and that's since changed, but at one point in Niagara, they were using a hotel to house a lot of the asylum seekers, which was impacting the tourism because the hotel wasn't available. And yeah, we got other hotels, but at the end of the day, they were actually getting these hotels. And that's the liberals, again, I say, and that was impacting the economy and the tourism market here in the Niagara region. So that changed. They rehoused them somewhere else. And listen, I'm not suggesting that they don't deserve to get their temporary or permanent status, depending on their circumstances. Oftentimes when they're seeking asylum, they're coming from a bad situation in their country. I get it. I'm just saying, what about the people that lived here? Okay. They're like not immigrants, but the residents that lived here. Can we get a hotel? You know what I mean? There's like homeless encampments all over the country, so a lot of, I'm just talking from the lens of a Canadian citizen. It's like, well, hang on, hold up, wait a minute. What happened to us, right? So that's why there was a lot of pushback to the liberals about the way that they were handling things. So it had to take a whole runaway train, as I said, and, stress on health, the health system, stress on the housing system, stress in the grocery stores, stress at the pumps, stress everywhere for them to finally be like, oh, I think we better start cleaning this up. Make it make sense. So for life, you said Trump is clearing them out. in the US as well. Immigrants want to go everywhere except home. We all know they are going to try to flee the United States. I'm just saying. So, Scatterman, you're saying if Canada was smart, they would force the migrants to live in Nunavut. Oh my goodness. Listen, just go through the process and see how it works out for you. I would never say that all immigrants aren't value adds to the country, because that would be a lie. We have a lot of great doctors that come from all over the world, and they're indelible contributors to the country. We had a doctor shortage. We have a nurse shortage, and a shortage, and it's amazing to see all of these doctors coming from Africa and India and all other places. So there are a lot of immigrants that have, amazing contributors. I'm just saying, if you are coming here, you got to come correct, and you got to make sure you abide by the new rules, especially, and you can't rely on taking advantage of the system anymore. Wow, Lala Brown and Hassan. Wow, you guys are like, you don't have any mercy for them. Exactly, Buckhorse. That's what I'm saying. Do it the legal way. Just do it the legal way. But Buckhorse, as I was saying, a lot of people are desperate, right? They're desperate based on whatever the situation is where they live, and they seek asylum. And if you, maybe not now, but in the past, if you went on the internet and looked at what's the process to seek asylum in Canada, it's enticing, because you were given a lot of grace. But now that's changed as of March 26th. So that's why people are going to be getting notices. And like I said, 30,000 to start with. So, Memoir, you're saying you're fatigued. I agree with you. I agree. There's a lot of anti-Black racism here for sure. And we're all tired of it. All tired of it. So sick, literally sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I'm with you. I'm with you all the way. Well, not necessarily, because Ali Howard, they're not taking jobs off of, there was a doctor's shortage. So it's not like there were doctors here that were taking the jobs. Oftentimes what happens here, and I don't know if it's this way in the United States, but here, Ali Howard, a lot of Canadian citizens or residents or whatever will study here, but then they'll leave and go to either the UK or the United States to practice medicine. So then that causes a shortage of doctors and nurses and what have you. And then they take from other countries who are willing to come here. So that's what happens here. So it's not that they're taking jobs. The jobs weren't here. Rodman, you said even South African citizens were pushing out those immigrants. Yeah, man, it's rough. It's really rough. It's rough. It's really, really rough, because if you look around the world, there's a lot of bad things that are going on. Me personally, I would more lean toward working on whatever is going on in my country, whatever country, that I'm in. I would work on that. But at the same time, I can understand, because some people have some real dire situations where their lives are at stake, a really scary situation. So they're like, I got to get out of here and start my life elsewhere. So, it's circumstantial. It's subjective. It's it's kind of hard to paint everybody with the broad brush. I don't think that's fair, to be honest. So, Layla, you said you don't trust the education systems. Both have proven to be anti-Black and have integrity issues. I agree. There's a lot of anti-Black racism, these systemic racism in these major institutions, big time. So you're saying in America, the corporations want cheap labor. Yeah, they do that here. A lot of companies take advantage of the temporary foreign worker program, and they'll hire immigrants and pay them less. A lot of companies, and they're cracking down on those company owners as well. So do you company owners that are doing that, you better start running. It's not going to be a good time for you, or you better start cleaning that mess up that you're doing. because they're coming for you. They're coming. I've seen a lot of news where they're cracking down on these companies that are doing that. So you better cut it out. And that starts with Tim Hortons. I'll be bringing a report on that. Just so you know, I'm not just saying it off the top of, I'm just talking smack. It's a thing. And yes, Tim Hortons, anybody who lives in Canada, Ontario, you can all understand what I'm talking about when I say Tim Hortons, right? Sarah, baby, you're saying yes. All right, you're from Toronto. Shout out to Toronto. So you know what I'm talking about. Yes, you know. Okay, yeah, I see that Tim Hortons Scatterman is starting to pop up in the United States. I did see that. There was not too long ago, I was in Buffalo and I saw Tim Hortons. I was like, oh, so Tim Hortons is starting to become a thing. Yes, Canadian Tire. Yes. Canadian Tire. I will be talking about that. I've got a news report on that too. I'm just waiting for a little more information so I can bring you guys a full report. But Canadian Tire is another one. And Canadian Tire is known for being anti-Black racist too. Thank you so much, Ali Howard. Appreciate you very much. Hey, Beverly White. Hey, go Canada. Yes, go Canada and oh Canada. Anyhow, family, it's Friday. I had no intentions on keeping you for too long today because I know you guys probably want to go start your weekend. So thank you so much for tuning in. Rodman, I'll read yours. He said the root is that they need to go back home and fight for their rights against the government as people. If they are looking for easy, it is not to be. But they need to do it for their people. I agree. That's what I was saying. That's the option, is to really fight for your countries, because there's a lot going on in these countries, eh? So I said just like a Canadian, Anyhow, family, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you much. Don't forget to grab the African Diaspora News Channel app. If you haven't already, head over to your Google or Apple store, grab that app. You'll have access to beautiful content like this and all the beautiful content that all of us are putting up here. We appreciate you all for tuning in. We appreciate you all who have already got the app. Please continue to do that. Support us. This is an opportunity to have uncensored content, right? That, sometimes I know a lot of you will be like, hey, stop blurring that out. We want to see it and we want to hear it. Go to the app and you'll be able to see it all and hear it all. No filters. Okay. So grab that app. Thank you so much, Sarah Baby 6. I appreciate you very, very much. I shall see you tomorrow, same time, same channel, different topic, but equally as important. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care, everyone. Be safe.